And what's going on, guys? Kale here, coming at you with another video. For those of you that are new to the channel, I am an endgame player with 3 accounts, all in the endgame, and today we are talking about a account update on the little baby account, that is MiniKhal over here. Been just about 30 days since the last account update, and I've been trying to get a little bit better with doing these videos a little bit more regularly. So with that being said, we are at day 697 over here, and looking at the TCP, we are currently sitting at, let's see if this will load on up, currently sitting at 12.25, and so yeah, doing really good on that angle. Honestly, I normally try to compare what I was at in the last one, but I don't have that loaded at the moment, if I'm being totally honest. So as we kind of go through the video, I will get that loaded up and I will compare that. But typically, you know, kind of what I was doing is I was kind of getting roughly, I would say, about 200k, you know, every 10 to 15 days, I think. So I've got it pulled up here. Previous one, I was sitting at 11.4 mil. So we've gone up almost about 1 million in 30 days, which seems to kind of be on track, especially with the current climate in the game and, you know, just the kind of current dynamic. So, you know, obviously things are very Scourge focused. So, you know, building Scourge teams kind of constantly is just really kind of influencing that TCP jumps. But what I'm working on, I'm, for the most part, kind of at a good spot as far as gear goes. At least not really needing gear for too many of my characters. At least not farmable gear anyway. But so what I've been doing, I've been taking most of my campaign energy and I'm actually farming this top 2 rows, and obviously Agatha's not included in that, which I actually can unfavorite her at this point. She will be needing to get worked on pretty soon, but that is a after DD5 priority. But so these top 9 characters are the ones that I'm currently farming with campaign energy. And then what I'm doing is, after that campaign energy has been you know, used, what I am then doing is I am going into my campaign and basically just farming Mystic Gear. And Mystic Gear, just, you know, with the eventual plans of taking Darkhold to G15, and with the new announcement of the Apocalypse Saga eventually to G16. So definitely still building up a excess of Mystic Gear. But so that's what I'm doing campaign energy wise, and currently, you know, in the Verse Battle tab, for those of you that are not new to the channel, I use this tab to kind of really kind of subdivide characters that I'm working on specifically, either for Dark Dimension or for a Scourge event that's upcoming. So I did have some progress in DD5, and I'll talk about that when I get there, but currently, I am getting close to being done with the city section finally on Little Mini. We did get stuck, and I'll kind of talk about what I did to kind of get rid of that just like hard pass that I was in. I was basically, I'd hit a brick wall with Mini, and I had to do something. So I'll talk about that in a second. But so what I'm doing now is I'm basically getting my global team kind of up and running. So I was planning to take Gambit in anyway. And now with the new Apocalypse Saga announcement, if you weren't thinking about Gambit, I would maybe consider it. He is actually really good in Global. I've taken him into Global on Kale and on Dracarys, which are my other 2 accounts. You know, with Kale, it's a little bit of a different situation because the Gambit was 6 stars, 6 red, so quite beefy. But on Dracarys, he was only 3 stars, 3 red. I think I have more red stars on him, but, you know, obviously. So he did really good. He is really kind of a standout character. He functions really well in Dark Dimension. So he's definitely kind of a shoo-in for me. And kind of what I've been doing with Mini is, you know, the Dark Dimension 5 grind is quite slow. So since I am not immediately at the global section, you'll see there I just basically only spent 1,000,000 gold, and I'm basically just slowly gearing him up. My other characters for global are pretty much ready, except for Sharon Carter and Gambit. Those are my last two. Sharon Carter, needing one more piece of gear for her, and I'll be able to G16 her. The other characters that are in that spot will switch on us over to global. And BlueStacks is being nice and laggy today, which is always wonderful when you're recording. Anyway, so if you switch on over to global, so characters I'm bringing into global, and that I basically used on Kale as well, that they just did really well. Lady Deathstrike, great character. Captain Sam, great character. Doctor Doom, great character. I don't really think any three of these characters really need any explaining. They're good characters. They're good standalone characters. And then joining them, like I said, will be Sharon Carter and Gambit, and that'll be my global team. Now, while I guess we are kind of talking Dark Dimension, what I did to basically get myself out of my city bottleneck, because I was stuck actually on the unrestricted section, so not even just city, unrestricted. So I originally had taken in for my characters, I wonder if they'll pop up towards the top here. So I had Ghost Spider, Shang-Chi, I then also had Spider-Punk, and so that's 1, 2, 3. Spider-Punk, and then Morbius was my fifth. And honestly, Morbius was a cheap character, and I did him pretty early on, and that's definitely a character I regret taking in. And I think I talked about that on my last account update. That was just a horrible idea. And honestly, if I could go back and even change the Spider-Punk thing, I would have, instead of bringing in Spider-Punk, I probably actually would have brought in Miles. And the reasoning behind Miles is because not only is he used for the Morgan Le Fay Scourge, but you can also use him for the Rogue Scourge. But as the old saying goes, hindsight is 2020, and, kind of lesson learned, I guess. What I did do, though, to get myself out of that unrestricted bottleneck is Mini did have a lot of teal gear saved up, and we're going to switch on over to the Dark Dimension tab. I was on the one unrestricted node for, I think, almost a month, if I'm being totally honest. So let's get this loaded up over here. And I do apologize for the lag today. Alright. So this is the city node I'm currently on, so I guess we can kind of talk about that. I'm slowly chipping away at this city node, and I will talk about my kind of new city team that I'm currently using. Let's see, actually. Just close a couple things that I've got going on in the background currently, and see if that maybe alleviates some of this lag. Okay, so we are in the second city node, if I'm not mistaken. So that one was fine. And so this one was fine. I basically one-shotted this node crazy easy. Basically what I did was, because I think it was this node right over here. Yeah, so here we go. So you'll see I was basically attempting to slowly chip away at this node, and 32 attempts in. So that is basically a month's worth of attacks. Obviously, there were some, days I did double attacks because of the Dark Dimension energy, but I was basically a month in and, was making, like, zero progress. And since I had been in Dark Dimension for a month, and with all the new kind of gear coming in, I had a lot of gear. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to bring up 3 characters to basically replace the trash ones I brought in. And I know I'm going to use them later, and I'm just going to blow through this unrestricted section. So what I did was I brought up Morgan Le Fay, I brought up Icarus, and I brought up Cersei. And I knew by bringing them up, I was then going to have to modify my city plan a little bit, because if you're bringing those 3 in, chances are you're not going to be taking in Cloak and Dagger because you won't have the Mystic gear. And I was okay with that. I was like, you know what, I can slowly chip away at city, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So I modified my city plan, and you'll kind of see over here, you know, I still had Morbius at this point, and that's when I was like, oh, well, you know, I had Spider-Punk, Morbius, Scarlet Spider, Ghost Spider, and Shang-Chi, and, you know, Morbius was just not really doing much, so I know Squirrel Girl, some people have actually used Squirrel Girl in Dark Dimension and have had really good results since her rework, not to mention her utility now in the Scourge. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to bring in Squirrel Girl. She's got a great cleanse, she's a good healer, and that's really, you know, I think kind of helped out a little bit. You know, slowly chipping away at the nodes. I'm really not in too much of a rush, as I don't have my global team fully ready yet. But, you know, if you look here, I'm only in attack 7, so it's still slow going, but it is at least moving. And I think that's what's important. So, you know, definitely kind of, I guess, keep an eye on your teams, keep an open mind, and, you know, be flexible. So that's kind of those 2 big game modes. Next thing, you know, I guess we'll talk in the traditional fashion of these videos, basically what I'm buying in the store, and it really hasn't changed. I'm still buying teal gear, not really buying orange gear in the gold store currently, just because I've got a pretty good stockpile. In the Blitz store, I'm basically just buying the war currencies. The characters are pretty much maxed out, but when I do get above 10,000 Blitz credits, I will go ahead and pop these Blitz orbs. I'll normally do that 10 times twice, and that's basically just for some Silver Samurai shards, but I'm not like hard farming him or anything like that. In our raid store, I have maxed out all of the characters, so really all I'm doing is, and it's again another lesson I've learned on Kale, is I am basically buying catalysts, and I will buy the catalysts if they're under 4,000. So any of the catalysts that are under 4K, I buy, and I'm just trying to keep myself with a nice stockpile. Because currently on Kale, on my main account, I have no SBCs, so these superior basic catalysts. I have no focus catalysts, and those are kind of my 2 biggest bottlenecks with gearing characters right now. So I'm trying to be mindful of that on Dracarys and on Mini. Arena store, I am farming Dagger, so we'll farm her to 7 stars, and then I will go back to basically hoarding my arena credits. In the War store, kind of in a very similar situation. I have all the characters I currently want at 7 stars. So the last one that was on that list was actually Maria Hill. I was just able to take her to 7 stars, I believe, last week. So now really all I'm doing is I'm farming the teal gear. So uniques that are under 18, the hero uniques like these that are under 18. If I know it's a popular one, I will farm it to 36 if it's like a character that I know I'm possibly taking. And then any of the non-catalyst pieces that pop here that are under 200, I will also buy. And then with the shape of current events, I am actually currently back to hoarding my Stark Tech, and that'll basically be for the next war-related milestone that comes up. Scopely seems to be kind of in this very... I kind of like it in a way. It's a bit of a cadence schedule where you basically have, you know, 2 ISO 8 events a month. You have these 2 war events a month with the milestones. So I've actually kind of been enjoying that. I mean, mind you, it is encouraging hoarding, but I think if you have it planned, it goes pretty well. In our Cosmic Crucible store, again, trying to be a little bit more mindful now with what I'm buying as I am actively kind of going through Dark Dimension. So again, any pieces that are going to be under 100, I am certainly buying, and just trying to keep my credits as much as I can. Again, same thing with the hero uniques. If they're under 36 and it's a character I know, you know, there's going to be multiple characters using it, I will buy these. Or if they are under 18. In the orbs, I actually haven't opened these up today. We just got our payout. If you're not doing the teal one, I think you're honestly wasting these gold crucible credits. This is really your best bang for your buck. And it's just kind of a nice way to kind of get an influx of teal gear. And actually, I think I need these for... Oh no, that's on... I need these on Kale. Sorry, part of the problem of, running 3 accounts is sometimes I confuse the 3 of them, and I'm like, oh, does this character need that, or is it the other account? Anyway. In my Elite store, kind of the same thing. As characters pop up, if I see that they have some use and I have them at that current star level, I will go ahead and purchase them. The reason I haven't purchased Rogue is because I did not push all that hard on the Scourge on Little Minnie. I got her 2 4 stars, and I think that's okay for a first pass, especially for Minnie. And then, in the ISO 8 store, I basically just open the orbs, and same thing in the Ultimus store. So yeah, I think that's kind of that. Cosmic Crucible, I will say I haven't really, touched too much on Cosmic Crucible on the account updates. Let's just see how I did this time around. So we had a Trial 3 defeat. Didn't lose by all that much. But I've definitely gone on, and actually on all 3 accounts, I've gone with a more offense-heavy approach, and I'm finding that getting the individual battle rewards are worth a lot more to me, especially since I'm currently going through Dark Dimension 5, than having this crazy high defense and, maybe not having as many attack teams to kind of push through. So I kind of just did some baby defenses. I put Young Avengers on defense, just because Mini doesn't have too much as far as defensive characters. I put my little baby Black Order over here. For the crit mutants, I just kind of did an X Factor with Emma. Mystic Implication, which the room isn't working correctly, but this is my Mystic team for when it does work. We've got the generic Web Warriors, and then just kind of a Doom team with Red Guardian feeding energy, so Doom can basically ult turn 1. And that's kind of it. Nothing too crazy. There's obviously better team comps for this one. I think I've seen one that has Shang-Chi, Cap Sam, and I forget who the 5th was. And it's basically just like they're all skill characters, but I actually like using Cap Sam on offense with Kestrel and friends, so that's kind of more the angle I go with that. But anyway, I think that is going to be it for day 697. So very quickly approaching that 2-year mark. If you are finding these account update videos helpful, please feel free to like and subscribe. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Hope everyone is having a good week, rather. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.